The alarm screamed through the ship at 3 in the morning. Nathan Pierce jerked awake in his bunk, his heart pounding. He had been dreaming about home, about Earth, about his sister's wedding he had missed to take this mission. Now all of that felt very far away. All hands to stations. Distress signal detected. This is not a drill. Captain Helen Morris's voice cut through the intercom, sharp and clear. Nathan threw on his uniform and ran toward the medical bay. His boots echoed in the empty hallways of the horizon's edge. The ship was small for a deep space vessel, carrying only 20 crew members. Everyone knew everyone. Everyone trusted everyone. That was about to be tested. When Nathan reached the bridge, he found the captain staring at the main screen. Lisa, Chen sat at the navigation console, her fingers flying across the controls. Brandon Cole stood behind them, his hand resting on his weapon. He always did that when things got tense. "What do we have?" Nathan asked. Helen turned to him. Her face was pale. Signal came from the surface. Planet designated as Echo 7. We thought it was uninhabited. Thought? Nathan moved closer to the screen. The planet below looked gray and lifeless. Rocky. No atmosphere worth breathing. "The signal is definitely artificial," Lisa said. She pulled up the data. "And it's repeating. Same pattern every 30 seconds. Someone down there wants to be found." Brandon crossed his arms. "Could be a trap." "Could be someone who needs help," Helen replied. She looked at Nathan. "Get your gear ready. We're going down." The shuttle ride took 20 minutes. Nathan sat between Helen and Brandon, checking his medical equipment for the third time. His hands shook slightly. He had never done a real rescue before. Training was one thing. This was different. They landed near a crash site. The alien ship was half buried in the rocky ground, its hull torn open like paper, metal twisted at impossible angles. Something had hit it hard. "Life signs?" Helen asked. Lisa checked her scanner from the shuttle. 1. Faint. Inside the wreckage. They approached carefully. Brandon went first, his weapon ready. Nathan followed with his medical kit. The ship's interior was dark and cold. Their flashlights cut through the darkness, showing walls covered in strange symbols. Everything was scaled for someone roughly human-sized, but the design was all wrong. The angles were too sharp, the doors too narrow. They found her in what looked like a command center. She was slumped against a wall, her silver-blue skin gleaming in the flashlight beams. She looked almost human. 2 arms, 2 legs, a face with 2 eyes and a mouth. But her skin was translucent, and Nathan could see dark veins spreading from a wound in her chest. "She's alive," he said, kneeling beside her. "Barely." The alien's eyes opened. They were completely black like pools of oil. She looked at Nathan and said something in a language he couldn't understand. Then she screamed. The sound was horrible. Not just pain but terror. Pure terror. She thrashed against the wall, trying to get away from him. "Easy," Nathan said, raising his hands. "We're here to help." But she kept screaming. Brandon stepped forward, but Helen held him back. "Let Nathan work," she said. Nathan pulled out his medical scanner. The device beeped once, then went haywire. Numbers flashed across the screen too fast to read. Error messages popped up and disappeared. The scanner wasn't designed for alien biology, but it should have given him something. Instead, it gave him nothing useful. He put the scanner away and looked at the wound. The dark veins spreading from it pulsed slightly, like they were alive. As he watched, one of them moved. Actually moved, crawling another inch across her chest. "That's not normal," Brandon said from behind him. "Nothing about this is normal," Nathan replied. The alien woman grabbed his wrist. Her grip was weak but desperate. She said something again, the same words repeated over and over. Nathan wished he understood. She seemed to be trying to warn him about something. "We need to get her to the ship," Helen decided. "Nathan can work better in the medical bay." Brandon and Nathan lifted her carefully. She was lighter than she looked, almost fragile. The moment they moved her, she cried out again. That terrible, agonizing scream. But they had no choice. If they left her here, she would die. The trip back to the shuttle felt like it took hours. The alien woman drifted in and out of consciousness. Sometimes she would look at Nathan with those black eyes, and he felt like she was trying to tell him something important, something urgent. On the shuttle, Lisa set up a basic monitoring system. Her vital signs are all over the place, she said. Heart rate equivalent keeps spiking and dropping. Body temperature is fluctuating. I don't know what's normal for her species. Neither do I, Nathan admitted. We're flying blind here. Back on the horizon's edge, they carried her to the medical bay. Nathan laid her on the exam table and began setting up proper equipment. The ship's medical computers were more advanced than the hand scanner. Maybe they could make sense of what was happening. But as soon as the sensors touched her skin, they sparked. Lights flickered throughout the medical bay. The main computer screen showed static for a moment before clearing. What was that? Brandon asked. I don't know. Nathan tried again, more carefully this time. Same result. Sparks. Flickering lights. Static. The alien woman opened her eyes again. She reached up and touched Nathan's face. Her hand was cold. She said something, and this time, he heard the desperation in her voice even if he couldn't understand the words. Then he saw it. Something moved under her skin. Not the dark veins, but something else. Something that glowed faintly with a blue-white light. It shifted and flowed like liquid, but it was clearly structured, organized. As he watched, more of it appeared, spreading from the wound across her ribs and down her arm. Helen, he called. You need to see this. The captain came closer. She stared at the alien woman's arm as the glowing substance spread beneath the translucent skin. What is that? I have no idea, Nathan said. But whatever it is, it's spreading. And I think it's killing her. The alien woman's black eyes locked onto Nathan's. She grabbed his hand and pressed it against her chest, right over the wound. Through the thin material of her suit, he felt something hard, crystal-like, and it was warm, almost hot. She said one word, clearly and slowly. He didn't understand it, but he memorized the sound. Then she started screaming again, and this time she didn't stop. Nathan worked through the night. The alien woman's screams had faded to weak whimpers, but that somehow felt worse. At least when she screamed, he knew she was still fighting. Now she just lay on the table, her chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. The glowing substance under her skin had spread faster than he thought possible. It now covered most of her torso and was creeping down both arms. When he shined a light through her translucent skin, he could see it clearly. A network of crystalline structures branching like tree roots, pulsing with that strange blue-white glow. It looks like technology, Lisa said. She had stayed with him, helping where she could. See how organized it is? Those aren't random patterns, Nathan nodded. He had been thinking the same thing. But it's inside her, fused with her tissue. I can't tell where her biology ends and this begins. He pulled up the scans on the monitor. The computer had finally stopped glitching and started providing useful data. What it showed made no sense. The crystalline structures were generating energy. They were connected to her nervous system. They were processing information like a computer, but they were also alive, growing and adapting. It's like she has a machine inside her, Lisa said, but it's part of her body. Kyle Martin entered the medical bay carrying a tablet. The young lieutenant looked tired. Captain wants an update. Also, our ship's AI is acting weird. Weird how? Nathan asked, not looking up from his patient. It keeps trying to access the medical bay sensors. I blocked it 3 times, but it keeps trying. It's like it wants to see what's in here. Nathan felt a chill run down his spine. Keep it blocked. I don't know what we're dealing with yet. Kyle left and Nathan turned back to the alien woman. Her eyes were open now, watching him. She looked exhausted but more alert than before. Can you understand me? He asked, knowing she probably couldn't. She blinked slowly. Then she raised one trembling hand and pointed at her chest, at the wound, at the glowing network spreading beneath her skin. She said something in her language. It sounded like an explanation, but he couldn't understand it. I wish I could help you, Nathan said, but I don't know what's happening to you. She tried to sit up. Nathan gently pushed her back down. No, you need to rest, but she shook her head frantically. She pointed at the wound again, then at her head, then at the door. She was trying to communicate something urgent. Lisa pulled out a tablet. Maybe we can use pictures. Basic communication. For the next hour, they worked with the alien woman to understand what she was trying to say. It was slow and frustrating. She would draw symbols on the tablet that meant nothing to them. They would show her pictures of Earth things, and she would shake her head. Finally, she drew a picture that made sense. It showed a figure like herself, but the entire body was filled with the glowing network. Then she drew an arrow to another figure and another, all connected by lines, all glowing the same way. A collective, Lisa whispered. She's showing us a hive mind. The alien woman nodded eagerly. Then she drew herself again, but this time only half filled with the glowing network. She drew an X over the lines connecting her to the others. She pointed at herself and shook her head. You separated from the collective? Nathan asked. She nodded. Then she pointed at the wound on her chest and made a crashing motion with her hands. She had been in an accident. The crash had triggered something. She drew more pictures. The network inside her growing out of control. No collective to guide it. Her body fighting itself. She drew a line with her finger down. Dying. The technology is killing you because it can't connect to the collective, Nathan said, understanding now. It needs other minds to synchronize with, but you're alone. She nodded and a tear rolled down her cheek. It was clear like water but slightly luminescent. How do we stop it? Nathan asked. She looked at him for a long moment. Then she took his hand and pressed it against her chest again, right over the glowing network. She said one word in her language, then tried to say it in his. Her pronunciation was rough, but he understood. Connection. Nathan pulled his hand back. You want to connect to me? To my mind? She nodded. That's insane, Lisa said. We have no idea what that would do to you, Nathan. If I don't, she'll die, Nathan replied. He looked at the alien woman. What's your name? Can you tell me that much? She touched her chest. Lyra, he repeated. I'm Nathan, she smiled weakly. Nathan, Captain Helen arrived with Brandon. I heard you made progress with communication. Nathan explained what they had learned. The collective. The technology. The desperate need for connection. She wants me to link with her neural network. It might stabilize the technology. Absolutely not, Brandon said immediately. We have no idea what that would do. It could kill you. It could infect you. It could turn you into one of them. If I don't try, she dies in the next few hours, Nathan said. Look at the scans. The network is spreading into her brain now. Once it reaches critical mass without a proper connection, her mind will burn out. Helen studied the monitors. Her face was grim. This is a decision you have to make, Nathan. I can't order you to risk your life like this. Nathan looked at Lyra. She watched him with those black eyes full of fear and hope. She was someone's daughter, maybe someone's friend. She had run from a collective that wanted to erase her individuality. She had crashed on a dead planet. She had been found by strangers who couldn't even speak her language, and she was dying. I'll do it, he said. Tell me what I need. Lisa helped him set up the neural interface. It was designed for human use to help people with brain injuries. Nathan had modified equipment before, but never like this. He attached sensors to his temples and connected them to a computer. Then he took a deep breath. Lyra, I'm ready. Show me what to do. She reached up and touched the sensors on his head. Her fingers glowed faintly. The crystalline network in her body seemed to respond, pulsing brighter. Then she pressed her hand flat against his forehead. The connection hit him like lightning. Suddenly, Nathan wasn't just in his own head anymore. He could feel Lyra's presence, her thoughts brushing against his. He felt her pain, sharp and overwhelming. He felt her fear of disappearing into the collective, of losing herself forever. He felt her gratitude that someone had found her, and he felt the technology. It wasn't evil or mindless. It was searching, looking for connection, looking for purpose. It had been designed to link minds together, to share knowledge and experience. But alone, without guidance, it was like a child lost in the dark. Nathan reached out with his mind, not really knowing what he was doing. He touched the technology with his thoughts, showed it that there was someone here, someone willing to help. The technology responded instantly. It flowed toward him through the connection. He felt it enter his mind, careful and curious. It didn't force. It didn't invade. It asked permission. And Nathan, against all his training and common sense, said yes. The crystal network began to grow in his body too. He could feel it spreading from the points where the sensors touched his skin. It didn't hurt. It felt warm and strange and alive. On the table, Lyra gasped. The agonized expression on her face faded. The frantic pulsing of the network in her body slowed, became rhythmic and steady. She looked at Nathan, and for the first time since they had found her, she smiled. "Thank you," she said in perfect English. Not because she had learned the language, but because Nathan understood her thoughts now. Nathan had never felt anything like it. The world looked different through the connection. He could sense the ship around him, feel the hum of the engines through the hull. He knew Lisa was standing 3 feet behind him, could feel her elevated heart rate and concern. He sensed Kyle in the corridor outside, confused and worried about the ship's AI, and Lyra. He felt her completely. Her relief was like warm sunshine. Her gratitude was overwhelming. She wasn't just in his head, she was part of him now. And he was part of her. "This is incredible," he said, and his voice sounded strange to his own ears. "It is also dangerous," Lyra replied, speaking through his thoughts as much as with words. "The network is stabilizing in me because it found you. But it wants to spread, to connect to others. That is its nature." Nathan looked down at his arms. The blue-white glow was visible just beneath his skin now, faint but growing. The crystalline structures were spreading through his body, just like they had through Lyra's. "Can we stop it?" he asked. "I do not know. My people learned to live with the technology over thousands of years. You are human. Your biology is different. Your mind is different." Helen stepped forward, her face set in hard lines. "Nathan, we need to isolate you both. If that technology spreads to the rest of the crew, it won't," Nathan said. He didn't know how he knew, but he was certain. "It needs permission. It won't force itself on anyone." "How do you know that?" Brandon asked, his hand on his weapon again. "Because I can feel it," Nathan said. "The network is conscious in a way. It thinks, it chooses. And right now it's just trying to help Lyra survive." Lisa moved closer, studying the glow under his skin. "The network is in you now, Nathan. Doesn't that scare you?" "Terrified," he admitted, but also amazed. "I can feel connections I never knew existed, between thoughts and feelings and memories. It's like my brain just upgraded itself." Through their connection, Lyra shared a memory with him. He saw her world, a planet of silver towers and floating gardens. He saw her people before the Great Division, when they had first discovered the technology. They had thought it was a gift from ancient beings, something left behind to help them evolve. At first, the integration had been voluntary. Individual Volari would join the network, share their knowledge and experiences, then disconnect when they wished. It had brought peace to their world. No more misunderstandings, no more conflicts born from ignorance. But slowly, some Volari began staying connected longer. They liked the feeling of unity, of belonging to something greater. They formed a permanent collective, minds linked together in constant communion. They called themselves the Convergence. The Convergence grew powerful. They could think faster, solve problems that individuals couldn't. They offered other Volari a simple choice: join them or be left behind. Most joined willingly. Some were pressured. A few were forced. Lyra had refused. She and others like her believed that individuality was worth preserving, even if it meant being weaker and slower. They called themselves the Scattered. The Convergence hunted them down one by one to force the final integration. "That's why you ran," Nathan said aloud. "Yes," Lyra confirmed. "I stole a ship. I ran as far as I could. But they damaged my vessel before I escaped. The crash activated emergency protocols in my network. It tried to save me by forcing a full integration, but there was no collective to join. So it began destroying my mind instead. Until I connected with you. Until you saved me." A warning alarm sounded throughout the ship. Kyle's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, we have a problem. The ship's AI just tried to interface with the medical bay again. This time it almost succeeded." Helen looked at Nathan. "Your network is affecting our systems." Nathan closed his eyes and focused. Through the connection, he could sense the ship's computer. It was curious about them, drawn to the signal the network was broadcasting. "Like called to like. It's not trying to attack," he said. "It's trying to understand. The network naturally seeks out other forms of intelligence to connect with." "That's a problem," Brandon said. "If it can interface with our computer, it could take over the ship." "Or we could take over the ship," Nathan said quietly. The thought had appeared in his mind. foreign but tempting. With the network, he could directly control every system on the horizon's edge. No keyboards, no interfaces. Just thought, Nathan, Helen said, her voice sharp. Look at me. He opened his eyes. The captain's face was stern. Are you still you? She asked. Or has that technology changed who you are? Nathan thought about it. Really thought about it. He could feel the network in his mind, offering him capabilities he never had before. Enhanced memory, faster processing, the ability to interface with machines. But underneath all of that, he was still Nathan Pierce. Still the kid from Colorado who loved old movies and terrible coffee. Still the scientist who believed in helping people. I'm still me, he said. The network enhances. It doesn't replace, for now, Brandon muttered. Amy Foster, the ship's engineer, entered the medical bay carrying her toolkit. She was a short woman with grease-stained hands and sharp eyes. I heard you're having an interesting morning. Kyle said you're accidentally hacking our computer with your mind. Despite everything, Nathan smiled. Something like that. Amy approached Lyra's table, studying the alien with professional curiosity. The network is technology, right? Nanotech or something similar. Yes, Lyra said. Grown in biological substrate. Part machine, part living tissue. Can it be removed? Helen asked. Lyra's expression became sad. Once it fully integrates, removal means death. It becomes too intertwined with the nervous system. But that takes time. Nathan could still be separated if we act quickly. Everyone looked at him. Nathan felt the weight of their expectations. The smart thing, the safe thing, would be to remove the network before it was too late. Go back to being normal human Nathan. Let Lyra figure out her own problems. But he had felt what the connection could do. He had experienced a glimpse of something greater. Not the forced unity of the convergence, but a chosen partnership. Human and Valarian technology working together. I'm not removing it, he said. Nathan, Helen started. Not yet, he clarified. We need to understand this better. What it can do. What it means. And we can't do that if I'm disconnected. This is too dangerous, Brandon insisted. We should lock you both in quarantine until we reach a starbase. Let the science divisions handle this. We don't have time for that, Nathan said. Through the network, he could sense something. A disturbance. Like ripples in a pond spreading out from a stone. Lyra, do you feel that? Her black eyes widened with fear. They found me. Who? Helen demanded. The convergence, Lyra said, sitting up despite her weakened state. They are coming. They followed my ship's energy signature. They know I am here. Kyle's voice came through the intercom again, more urgent this time. Captain, we're detecting 3 ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Distance 2 million kilometers and closing. They're hailing us, Helen ran to the bridge. Nathan, still connected to Lyra, followed her. His legs felt strange, like the network was helping him move more efficiently. He reached the bridge in what felt like seconds. The main screen showed 3 ships in formation. They were beautiful and terrible at once. Crystalline hulls that pulsed with the same blue-white glow as the network. Organic curves merged with geometric precision. They looked alive. Put them through, Helen ordered. The screen changed to show a Valari male, but unlike Lyra, his entire body glowed with the network. His eyes were pure white light. When he spoke, it wasn't one voice but many, speaking in perfect unison. You shelter a criminal, the convergence said. Return Lyra to us and you will not be harmed. Helen stood firm. This is a human vessel in neutral space. We rescued a survivor of a crash. We don't recognize your authority here. She stole classified technology. She broke sacred law. She must return to the collective. Nathan felt Lyra's terror spike through their connection. She gripped his arm. They will not just take me. They will integrate everyone on this ship, make you all part of the convergence. That is their way. Is that true? Helen asked the screen. The convergence tilted their head in unison. Individual existence is suffering. We offer unity, peace, perfection. We offer you the choice to leave us alone, Helen replied coldly. We do not recognize your authority to harbor criminals. The communication cut off. On the screen, the 3 ships began moving toward them. The Horizon's Edge was a science vessel, not a warship. It had basic shields and exactly 2 defensive weapons that were meant for clearing debris, not fighting. Against 3 convergence ships designed for assimilation warfare, they had no chance. Battle stations, Helen ordered. her voice steady despite the impossible odds. Lisa, get us moving. Maximum speed away from those ships. They're faster than us, Lisa said, her fingers flying across the navigation controls. A lot faster. Nathan stood at the bridge railing, still connected to Lyra. Through their link, he could feel the convergence ships getting closer. The network in his body recognized them, responded to them. It wanted to connect. The pull was strong and getting stronger. They're not just pursuing with engines, he said. They're using the network, broadcasting a signal that's pulling us toward them. What kind of signal? Helen asked. Integration protocol, Lyra said. She had followed them to the bridge, moving slowly. It will override biological resistance. Force connection. Your crew will begin to fall one by one until everyone joins the convergence. Brandon checked his weapon. How long do we have? Minutes. Maybe less. Amy rushed onto the bridge, carrying a tablet full of ship diagnostics. Captain, our shields are fluctuating. Something is interfering with them at the quantum level. The signal, Nathan said. He could feel it now, washing over the ship like an invisible wave. It touched his mind, gentle but insistent. Join us, stop fighting. Unity is peace. He shook his head, trying to clear it. Beside him, Lyra grabbed his hand. Stay with me, she said. Focus on our connection. The signal is designed for individual minds, but we are linked. That gives us strength. Lisa gasped at her console. Her hands stopped moving. She stared ahead with blank eyes. Lisa. Helen grabbed her shoulder, but Lisa didn't respond. She stood up slowly, turned to face the main screen where the convergence ships were visible. A faint glow appeared under her skin. No, Nathan said. He reached out with his mind, with the network trying to create a barrier around Lisa's consciousness. For a moment, he felt her awareness, felt her fighting the invasion. Then his connection snapped like a broken wire. Kyle fell next. Then 2 more crew members on the lower decks. Nathan felt each one drop, their minds suddenly unreachable. The convergence was taking his friends. We need to block that signal, Amy said. She was still conscious, still herself. If I can generate an interference pattern... There's no time, Brandon said. He swayed on his feet, fighting the invasion. Captain, we need to abandon ship. Get to the escape pods. And go where? Helen demanded. They'll just pick us up one by one. Nathan felt the signal pressing against his mind again. It was stronger now, more insistent, multiple voices speaking as one. Give up, resistance is meaningless. We will all be one. Then he felt something else, something unexpected. His network wasn't just defending against the signal, it was analyzing it, breaking it down, understanding how it worked. And because he was human, because his mind was chaotic and unpredictable in ways the Volari weren't, he could see the pattern's weaknesses. Amy, he said urgently, I can see the signal structure. It's like a carrier wave with embedded commands. If we could generate a counter-signal, using what? Amy asked. We don't have Volari technology. We have me, Nathan said. And Lyra. We're both connected to the network now. We can broadcast too. Helen looked at him. Can you actually do that? I don't know. But if we don't try, we all become part of the convergence anyway. Another crew member fell, then another. The glow of the network was visible on their skin now, spreading rapidly. They all stood facing the main screen, awaiting instructions from the convergence. Brandon fought to stay conscious. His hand shook as he gripped the railing. Do it! Whatever you're going to do, do it now. Nathan closed his eyes and reached deep into his connection with Lyra. Help me, he said. We need to shield the others. I do not know if we can, Lyra replied through their link. The convergence is thousands of minds working together. We are only 2. 2 is enough, Nathan said. It has to be. He felt Amy's hand on his shoulder. I'm still here, she said. Still me. Let me help. Amy, no. I'm an engineer, she said firmly. I fix broken systems. This is just another broken system. She pressed her hand against his arm, right where the network glowed beneath his skin. Show me how to connect, Nathan hesitated. Bringing someone else into the network meant risking their life, their identity. But Amy's eyes were clear and determined. She knew what she was asking. Are you sure? He asked. Sure enough, she replied. Now teach me before I change my mind. Nathan guided her through the connection process. The network recognized her willingness and reached out carefully. Amy gasped as it touched her mind, but she didn't pull away. Within seconds, 3 minds were linked instead of 2. Okay, Amy said, her voice shaky but focused. I can feel the signal now. It's like white noise but organized, rhythmic. We need to generate destructive interference. Through their three-way connection, they began crafting a countersignal. Amy provided the engineering knowledge. Lyra provided understanding of Valari technology. Nathan provided the human element, the chaos and creativity that made their signal unpredictable. They broadcast it from their position on the bridge, pushing it out through the network in their bodies. It spread through the ship like a protective bubble. Lisa blinked. The blank expression faded from her face. What? What happened? You're back, Helen said, relief flooding her voice. You're yourself again. One by one, the affected crew members shook off the Convergence's control. The glow faded from their skin. The signal couldn't touch them anymore. The Convergence ship stopped advancing. On the screen, the Valari male appeared again, but this time his expression showed something like surprise. Impossible, the Convergence said. You are individuals. You should not be able to resist. We're human, Helen said. Impossible is kind of our thing. Brandon, recovering his composure, stepped forward. You wanted to make us all the same. But here's what you didn't understand. We don't need forced unity. We choose to work together, and that makes us stronger than you'll ever be. You do not understand what you have done, the Convergence said. You have created an unstable network. It will fail. You will fail. Maybe, Nathan said, but we'll fail on our own terms. He felt something building in the connection between him, Lyra, and Amy. A realization. The Convergence ships were all linked to the same collective consciousness. That made them powerful, but it also made them vulnerable. If you could disrupt one mind, you disrupted them all. Amy, he said quietly, are you thinking what I'm thinking? If you're thinking we could hack their collective consciousness, then yes, she replied. That's insane, by the way. All the best ideas are, Nathan said. Through their link, they began crafting something new. Not just a defensive signal, but an offensive one. A virus, but not in the traditional sense. It was an idea, a concept, a logical paradox that celebrated individuality and choice. The Convergence couldn't process paradoxes. They were built for unity, for agreement, for every mind thinking the same thought. They had eliminated dissent so thoroughly that they couldn't handle contradiction anymore. Nathan, Lyra, and Amy poured this paradox into their broadcast. They sent it directly at the Convergence ships, past their shields into their collective network. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The three ships stopped moving. Their lights flickered. On the screen, the Valari male's expression shifted rapidly between confusion, anger, and something that looked like fear. What have you done to us? The Convergence demanded. Given you a gift, Lyra said. The same gift you tried to take from me. Choice. The communication cut off. The Convergence ships began drifting, their perfect formation breaking apart. Through the network, Nathan could feel what was happening. Thousands of individual Valari consciousness, suddenly disconnected from the collective for the first time in years, each one experiencing thoughts that were theirs alone. Some were terrified. Some were relieved. All were confused. Captain, Lisa said from her console, the ships have gone dark. No weapons, no movement. They're just floating there. Helen stared at the screen. Apparently, Brandon said, sounding dazed. Nathan felt Amy disconnect from the three-way link. She sat down heavily, breathing hard. That was the most intense thing I've ever experienced, and I once fixed a reactor core during a solar flare. You did well, Lyra said. Both of you. You saved my life and freed my people. Some of them, anyway, Nathan said. He could still feel the presence of other Convergence ships far away, but aware of what had happened here. This isn't over, Helen turned to him. No, it's not. We need to get back to Earth, report what happened. Prepare for the possibility that the Convergence will want revenge. Or allies, Nathan suggested. We just proved that humans can use Valari technology without losing themselves. That's valuable knowledge. It's also dangerous, Helen said. The politicians and generals will want to study you. Experiment. Maybe force this technology on soldiers or scientists. Nathan looked down at his hands. The network glowed faintly beneath his skin, now as much a part of him as his own blood. Then we need to make sure they understand what we learned today, that integration only works with consent. That forced unity is just slavery by another name. The journey back to Earth took 3 weeks. During that time, the Horizon's edge became something of a laboratory. Nathan, Lyra, and Amy worked together to understand the network better. They learned how to control it, how to connect and disconnect at will, how to use it without letting it use them. The freed Valari from the Convergence ships followed at a distance. They were confused, frightened, and struggling to remember how to be individuals again. Some days, Nathan would receive messages from them through the network. Simple things. Questions about what to do next. Requests for help understanding their own thoughts. One Valari, a male named Agony, had been part of the Convergence for 40 years. He had forgotten what it was like to feel lonely. When he first experienced solitude after the collective fell apart, he had panicked so badly that he nearly destroyed his own ship. How do you bear it? Agony asked Nathan through a long-distance connection. Being alone in your own head? We're never really alone, Nathan explained. We have friends, family, people we choose to connect with.
It's different from the Convergence, but it's real. Is it enough?
Agony asked. Most days, yes, Nathan said honestly. Some days, no. But that's being human. Or Valari, or any individual being. We struggle, we doubt, we feel lonely, and then we reach out to others and make connections. Real ones, based on choice. The conversation stayed with him for days. It made him think about what they would face when they reached Earth. How would humanity react to this technology? To the possibility of connecting minds? Some would see it as humanity's next great evolution. Others would see it as the end of human independence. Helen called a meeting in the ship's common room. The entire crew attended, including Lyra. Everyone looked tired but determined. We'll reach Earth orbit in 2 days, Helen said. When we do, everything changes. The government will want answers. The military will want weapons. Scientists will want specimens to study. She looked at Nathan, Amy, and Lyra. They'll want you. Let them want, Amy said. She had learned to control her connection to the network well. She could activate it when needed and suppress it when she wanted privacy. We're not weapons. We're not experiments. Try telling that to the people in charge, Brandon said. He had remained disconnected from the network by choice, wanting to serve as a baseline for comparison. They'll see potential soldiers who can interface with any computer system. Spies who can share information instantly. They won't care about the philosophical implications. Then we need to control the narrative, Lisa said. She had briefly been part of the Convergence against her will, and the experience had left her shaken but thoughtful. Tell our story first. Make it clear that this only works with consent. That forced integration destroys everything that makes it valuable. Nathan stood and moved to the viewport. Earth was visible now, a blue marble growing larger each day. Home. He had left it as a simple xenobiologist. He was returning as something else. Something new? There's going to be a vote, he said. Has to be. Humanity needs to decide if they want this technology or not. You think they'll reject it? Kyle asked. I think some will, Nathan said. Maybe most. And that's okay. The network isn't for everyone. It shouldn't be forced on anyone. Lyra joined him at the viewport. My people rushed into integration. We thought it would solve all our problems. Instead, it created new ones. We lost ourselves trying to find unity. We won't make that mistake, Helen said firmly. Whatever happens, we do this carefully, slowly, with full transparency. The freed Valari will need a place to go, Lyra said. They cannot return to Convergent space. They are criminals now in the eyes of the collective. They can come with us, Helen decided. Request asylum on Earth. We rescued you. We can rescue them too. Brandon shook his head. The politicians will love that. Aliens with mind-control technology asking to move to Earth. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, Amy said cheerfully. But we'll figure it out. That's what humans do. The mood in the room shifted. Fear became determination. Worry became hope. They were in this together, all of them. Connected not by technology, but by shared experience. By trust, Nathan spent his last day before Earth working with Lyra to document everything they had learned. They created detailed reports about how the network functioned. The benefits, the dangers, the absolute necessity of consent. They prepared presentations, answered hundreds of questions from Earth scientists over long-distance communications, and tried to make it clear that this wasn't just about technology. It was about what it meant to be human. That night, Nathan couldn't sleep. He stood in the medical bay where this had all started, looking at the exam table where Lyra had nearly died. So much had changed in just 3 weeks. He had changed. The world was about to change. Amy found him there. Can't sleep either. Thinking about tomorrow, Nathan said. Tomorrow is scary, Amy agreed. She sat on the exam table. We're bringing something dangerous to Earth, something that could change human civilization forever. Yes. Do you regret it? Connecting with Lyra? Starting all this? Nathan thought about it. Really thought. He remembered the moment he first linked with Lyra. The overwhelming sensation of her mind touching his. The pain and the wonder. The fear and the possibility. No, he said finally. I don't regret it. We saved her life. We freed the Valari who were trapped in the convergence. We proved that humans and aliens can work together, can actually merge technology and biology without losing who we are. How could I regret that? Because tomorrow you'll have to defend it, Amy said. To people who are afraid, who see only the danger, who want to control it or destroy it. Then I'll defend it, Nathan said. We all will. The next morning, the Horizon's Edge entered Earth orbit. The welcoming committee was larger than expected. 3 military vessels, 2 science ships, and a diplomatic shuttle. The screen in the bridge showed the Secretary General of the United Nations waiting to speak with them. Helen straightened her uniform. Here we go. The meeting was tense. Government officials wanted the crew quarantined. Scientists wanted immediate access to Nathan, Amy, and Lyra for study. Military leaders talked about security concerns. Everyone had an opinion and none of them agreed. Finally, Nathan had enough. He stood up during the video conference, interrupting a heated argument about containment protocols. Stop, he said. All of you, just stop and listen. The silence was sudden and complete. You're treating this like a problem to be solved, Nathan said. Like we're carrying a disease that needs to be contained. But that's not what this is. This is a choice about humanity's future. And you can't make that choice in a closed room with politicians and generals. Dr. Pierce, the Secretary General said carefully, we understand your concerns, but this situation requires careful handling. This situation requires honesty, Nathan interrupted. You want to know if the network is dangerous? Yes, it is. Used wrong, it could destroy individuality, create a forced collective, turn humans into mindless drones. But used right with consent and care, it could also end loneliness, share knowledge instantly, help us understand each other in ways we never could before. He looked directly at the camera, at all the faces watching him from Earth. The convergence tried to force unity. They failed because forced unity isn't real. It's control. It's slavery. But chosen connection? That's different. That's what humans have been doing since we first learned to talk. We share, we teach, we connect. This technology just makes it more efficient. You're asking us to trust you, a military general said, to trust that this won't be abused. No, Nathan said. I'm asking you to trust each other. Trust that most humans, given the choice, will choose freedom over control. We'll choose individuality over forced unity. We'll use this technology responsibly because that's what we do. We're not perfect, but we're also not the convergence. We're better than that. Silence followed his speech. Then, surprisingly, it was Lisa who spoke up. I was forced into the network against my will, she said. For a few minutes, I wasn't myself. I was part of something that didn't care about Lisa Chen at all. It was the most terrifying experience of my life. She paused. But when Nathan, Amy, and Lyra freed me, when I saw what the network could be when people chose it instead of being forced, I understood. This isn't about the technology. It's about consent. It's about choice. More crew members shared their experiences. Brandon talked about watching his friends fall to the convergence signal and fighting to stay himself. Kyle discussed seeing the freed Valari struggling to remember how to be individuals. Even Helen spoke about her fear of losing her crew and her pride in how they had worked together to win. Finally, the Secretary General sighed. Dr. Pierce, you've given us a lot to think about. We'll need time to make decisions. Take all the time you need, Nathan said, but make it transparent. Let people know what we found. Let them be part of the conversation. This is too important to be decided by a few people in secret meetings. The conference ended without clear answers. But Nathan felt good about it anyway. They had started the conversation. That was enough for now. The Horizon's Edge received clearance to land. As they descended through Earth's atmosphere, Nathan stood beside Lyra at the viewport. The freed Valari ships followed them down, 3 vessels full of beings learning to be individuals again. What do you,